Man, we're sitting here in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. It's a place I've never been before. It's a big, great lake, Lake Michigan. Sturgeon Bay is part of Lake Michigan, but it's a big enough bay where it's kind of like its own lake, full of smallmouth. We fished the first day of competition yesterday, and I'm in 11th place. I caught 20 smallmouth bass that were scoreable. We can't weigh them unless they're over 2 pounds. And I had close to 60 pounds for 20 fish. And so it was a pretty fun day out on the water. Today, Group A's out there fishing. It's probably the wind blowing a little bit today. And so I'm imagining it's pretty rough on them out there. I'm staying in this little show them the hotel. It's just some little hotel out here in Sturgeon Bay. It's actually connected to a tackle store called Howie's Tackle. It's like the only tackle store in town. What's really cool over there is they customize a lot of cool baits and stuff in there. One of the big things is you got one of the world-renowned professional fly tyers that sits in this tackle store, and he comes over here just to tie up these marabou jigs that we love to smallmouth fish with. And he's got all the good stuff, you know, the good marabou, and he puts these little feathers in there and he ties them really good, and you've got a good stout Gamakatsu hook in it. And I just thought it was pretty cool to get one of the world-renowned professional fly tyers. This dude's famous for tying flies in the saltwater world, for catching tarpon, and he's known for tying these salmon flies and all this other kind of stuff. And he's over there tying my marabou jigs in the back of this little tackle store. So it's really cool. But you know, a way I got this set up, I've caught a lot on this marabou. I probably caught 10 of my scoreable bass on this little marabou jig. And this is a bait that a lot of people struggle with because they don't necessarily set it up right. So it's real important to use the right rod, the right reel, the right braid, and everything from your leader material to the knot that you tie, or else you're just gonna go out there and fail at this deal. It just doesn't work. So the thing when you're throwing this bait is a 3/32 is the weight that I'm throwing this week. And I'll take a little piece of Cinco, and you can see I cut that little piece of Cinco right there, and I'll shove it on there. And that just adds a little bit of extra weight and density to the bait. You know, I just take a piece of Cinco like that, and I just cut it, and you just use a little piece on there, and it helps you throw it a little bit. But I like to make sure I get this jig wet before I throw it. You're gonna make your first cast with it, and then you just slowly reel this thing through the water column. I've been throwing this thing in anywhere from 6 feet to 12 feet in really clear water. And it really is, to me, it's only the deal whenever it's a calm, slick day. Because if it's windy out there, this is 10-pound Seaguar Smackdown braid. That's the braid I use. It's really slick braid. High strand, slick, silky braid, and you can sit there, and it's important because you can bomb this thing on a calm day. I could throw this hair jig, you know, probably 50-60 yards at least, a 3/32 hair jig. But you got to take that bait and you got to whip it, and whatever. So you got to have a lighter action rod. Some guys use like a 7.5 foot medium light. I don't have any like custom hair jig rods, so I'm using my DSR. It's a drop shot blank. It's a 610 medium. It's a real light. It's the lightest spinning rod I got, and you can just take this thing and you can whip it. But if that wind's blowing real bad, the braid's so light, it'll throw a big old bow in the air, and then you get wind knots in your braid and stuff. I just like throwing it on calm days. If it's windy, I'll usually just pull out a little swim bait or something like that and bomb it around, and they'll bite it. On them calm days, that's when you pull this little dude out. So the knot's real important. If you tie just a regular Albright knot from your braid to your fluorocarbon leader, then when you go to whip that action, it almost sounds like you're breaking your line every time because you whip that little bait so hard, you can just hear that line snapping through the guides. Well, whenever you sit there and if you have an Albright knot, it'll snap that leader material right at the knot, because it's coming through your guide so violently that it will break it off. And I learned that lesson the hard way when I only had one hair jig on the St. Lawrence River one time, and I cast and I whipped it in the first cast. It broke it off, and my hair jig went flying, and it was gone. Didn't get to fish a hair jig the rest of that day. I was pretty mad. So then I learned from some of the best hair jig fishermen out there that it's very important to tie an FG knot. The FG is extremely difficult for some guys to tie, but if you practice it, I can tie an FG knot in the boat, on the water, in the wind, whatever, in less than 2 minutes. And then you don't have to worry about it after that. Now, I'm not going to really give you lessons on how to tie an FG right now, but I'm going to let you watch me tie this FG because I'm rigging. And so I'll give you a couple basic instructions. This is 10-pound braid on a 25 series Quantum Smoke S3 spinning reel. It's a small combo, and that's on DSR blank. And I'm gonna put enough tension. I'm gonna keep my belt tight and put enough tension on the rod to where I can have some tension between the guide and my mouth. Then you gotta bite the line. I'll give you guys a more in-depth tutorial on how to tie this knot, but not right now. I just kind of want to show you the basics. But I'll find a good secure place, and I'll wrap the fluorocarbon around my hands a couple times, and then I'm gonna do 20 wraps like a Chinese finger trap. Pull it down, and I'll pinch it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Then you take this out your mouth, tie a half hitch to lock it all in place, test it, make sure that cinches down real good right there, and then you just finish it with some half hitches. 1, shorten up this braid a little bit, make it easier to work with. 2, 3, and you get this fluorocarbon tag in. Cut as close to you can to the knot without cutting the knot, so you don't have any. Then you tie 4 more half hitches to completely finish it. So that's a total of 8 half hitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you just cut that close. You got this little bitty knot, and for some reason the way that thing comes through, can y'all see that? It's so tiny. It's like almost identical diameter. For some reason, the way that knot comes through the guides of the rod, it won't break. So you can sit there and cast that marabou jig as hard as you want to, and you'll hear that line just coming through there, but it won't break that leader knot, and that's important. And then I'll take that leader, and I'll basically reel it down. And I'll feel it come down to the reel right here, and then I'll take the length and I'll cut it right there where the butt's at. It's about a 12 to 15 foot fluorocarbon leader. That's 8-pound line, and then that'll be my setup. But really cool technique. I mean, you can catch big smallmouth on this deal. You just got to have it set up right. And then I always set up at least 2 combos. If you got enough rod and reels to do 3, do 3. Because after you whip this thing around for probably a couple hours, you'll start getting enough line twist and everything with that light braid, and it's real sensitive to the wind that you know, you'll have a good chance you're going to blow up a spinning reel or 2 throughout the day that needs to be completely redone. You probably have to strip 25-30 yards of braid off of it, redo your knot and all other stuff. So to keep from doing all that, I like to rig 2 or 3 of these if I know I'm going to be throwing it a lot. So just a few tips. But anyway, tomorrow I'm Group B, and we're going to go out there, and I got a lot on the line this week. I'm 47th in points, and I need to make top 40. It's our last tournament of the year, and 47th in points and AOI points. So I need to do good enough in this tournament, probably a top 25 to make it to Red Crest. And then I'm 1 ounce out of heavy hitters. Right now my big fish for the week is a 4.3, and I think I need about a 4.12 because they're catching so many 4-pound smallmouth. I just need to get lucky and catch a little bit bigger one. So yesterday my biggest fish was a 4.3. Hopefully tomorrow I catch one close to 5, and we double qualify for Red Crest and heavy hitters. So just wanted to tell everybody about this little hair jig setup and show you where we're staying at here in Sturgeon Bay, and make sure y'all follow along. Let me know if y'all got any questions specifically, and then I'm gonna try to do a video that says exactly how, in detail, how to do this FG knot. It has a purpose. I know it's aggravating to tie, but it has a purpose, and you need to learn how to tie it. So if you're interested in what I had to say, make sure you follow along, and we'll give you more instructions. So click the like button and follow along with us at Gerald Sport Fishing, YouTube. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook as well.